This is CBS News, New York.
Right now, President Trump takes the world stage by blasting U.S. allies, green energy, and the United Nations. His bold statement on the war in Ukraine, as today we'll be hearing from that country's president. Plus,
our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke.
Jimmy Kimmel returning to late night addressing the White House, his supporters, but also the murder of Charlie Kirk.
And get ready for some more wet weather. The threat of flash flooding tonight. Our first alert forecast breaks it all down.
Good morning on this Wednesday, September 24th. I'm Chris Raggi.
And I'm Cindy Schuin for Mary Calvi. Let's get right to Tony with your first alert forecast in our virtual studio. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Chris. So we've got a good day today, but I want to give you the heads up right away about tomorrow's impactful weather. In fact, as early as later on tonight, we've got a steady round of rain that's moving in. And it's not just regular rain. This is the potential for some flooding rain and also some thunderstorms. Now to what's going on right now, we've got the radar on the floor to show you. Most areas are dry after a few of you got some showers last night. So this is the loop going back the last hour or so. And you can see how there have been some showers streaming in parts of Long Island. If you are, say, on the North Shore, anywhere from, say, East Setauket to Miller Place, even out towards the East End, out towards, say, Riverhead, Mattatuck, you've got some showers. And we've seen a few moving through sections of Connecticut from Monroe to Bridgeport, for instance. Now, rain chances today are actually lower than it was yesterday. Let's put it up here on the back wall just to give you an idea. It's about a 30% shot. Better chance if you live north of the city. And then, all the way up to 90% rain chance, almost a guarantee tomorrow with waves of showers before we start to dry things out heading into this evening. So we'll have much more, of course, on the impacts on this first alert situation into tomorrow. But at 5:01, we want to talk first alert traffic with traffic reporter Guy Stanier to find out the latest. Morning, Guy.
Good morning, Tony. Well, the big story all week has been the UN General Assembly. It continues today on the east side of Manhattan. If you drive into the city, expect lots of closures and detours near the United Nations. First Avenue and the FDR Drive are specifically impacted by this. Commuters are highly encouraged to use mass transit. Speaking of mass transit, checking on mass transit's Big Four, everything running on or close to schedule for Metro North, PATH Trains, New Jersey Transit, and the LIRR. We still have some subway issues between Manhattan and the Bronx. The 4 train running with delays after crews wrapped up some emergency track maintenance right near 125th Street. Alternate side parking is suspended again for Rosh Hashanah. You still have to pay the meters, and it's a gridlock alert day. Chris and Cindy, back to you.
Okay, Guy, thank you. President Trump is back at the White House this morning after a combative speech to the United Nations General Assembly yesterday.
He attacked the UN and countries around the world before making a dramatic shift in his position on the war in Ukraine. Christina Fan joins us live from outside United Nations headquarters with the latest. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Cindy and Chris. President Trump's speech yesterday was full of criticism for our European allies, climate change, and even the United Nations itself. But it was his shocking reversal later on in the day when he said that he believes that Ukraine can win back all of its land that it has lost to Russia. That truly shocked world leaders. And this all happening as Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is set to take the stage later on today.
Overnight, President Trump arrived back at the White House after a busy day meeting with world leaders. In his address to the UN General Assembly, he said the U.S. is in a golden age, while dishing out harsh criticism to the rest of the world.
Your countries are going to hell.
The president slammed migration and green energy policies, especially in Europe, and questioned the effectiveness of the UN.
What is the purpose of the United Nations? For the most part, at least for now, all they seem to do is write a really strongly worded letter and then never follow that letter up.
Perhaps most surprising was Trump's 180-degree shift in stance on Ukraine after meeting with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Writing on social media, "I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form." But critics say the president continually sends mixed signals.
It's a great sign that he's kind of waking up and recognizing what the rest of the world can see, which is that Russia is the enemy here. But I don't think anybody really counts on his word at this point.
President Trump also met with Arab and Muslim leaders Tuesday regarding Israel's war in Gaza and reaffirmed afterwards his desire to end that conflict.
We had a very good meeting concerning Gaza. It was a very successful meeting with all of the big fired except for his show. That's going to be next.
And yesterday, President Trump also pressed for world leaders to stop purchasing Russian energy, saying the country is using that money to fund its war in Ukraine. The president of the European Commission agreed with him. Reporting live on the East Side, Christina Fan, CBS News, New York.
Christina, thank you. And as world leaders gathered, a major telecom threat was thwarted nearby. The Secret Service says an active SIM farm was uncovered at 5 abandoned apartment buildings within a 35-mile radius of the UN. Agents seized 300 SIM servers with over 100,000 SIM cards. They're capable of encrypted anonymous communication and flooding phones with 30 million text messages per minute. Security experts say this could have crippled cell towers and jammed 911 calls.
This has to be likely a nation state with very sophisticated, high espionage capabilities. And there's not that many of those in the world.
No arrests have been made, but the Secret Service is looking into foreign actors. And we will be covering the UN General Assembly all week long. One of the worst traffic days expected to be Friday, when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu speaks. For more on that, you can go to CBSNewYork.com.
A shocking moment in court just seconds after a jury convicted the man accused of attempting to assassinate President Trump. Ryan Ruth aimed a rifle through shrubbery as President Trump golfed in Florida last September. But right after the verdict was read yesterday, the 59-year-old tried to stab himself in the neck with a pen. Armed marshals rushed over and took him out of the courtroom. He did not appear injured. Ruth will be sentenced in December and faces life in prison.
A search underway this morning for a suspect accused in a sex abuse inside a building in the East Village. Police say the man seen here pulled a 23-year-old woman from behind, causing her to fall, then dragged her down some stairs. Happened at about 4 a.m. back on September 12th near East 7th Street and 2nd Avenue. Investigators say the woman was able to escape, though she did suffer pain and bruising.
Excessive force complaints against the NYPD have surged during the Adams administration, according to a report by the city controller. Brad Lander says there were more than 5,600 complaints submitted last year to the city's Civilian Complaint Review Board. Now, that is up from about 5,500 complaints in 2023 and 3,700 complaints in 2022. Lander recommends the NYPD strengthen its oversight and deploy better training at high-risk police precincts. A spokesperson for Mayor Adams says the report is, quote, deeply flawed and riddled with inaccuracies, typos, and incorrect data. And the NYPD says the report demonstrates a basic misunderstanding between a CCRB complaint and allegation and uses the terms interchangeably.
Now to Jimmy Kimmel, returning to his late-night TV show. The comedian coming back last night after being suspended for his comments about the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
Now, the show beginning with Kimmel addressing those comments during his monologue. Aziza Schuler joins us live in studio this morning. And Aziza, Kimmel's return was really emotional and passionate.
It was. And before he got to what he had to say, Jimmy Kimmel opening Tuesday night show the way he frequently does anytime there's a major news event, with a montage of media clips with a comedic spin, only this time all referencing his anticipated comeback. But laughter and audience applause aside, it was an emotional return, as you mentioned, for one of the longest running late night hosts. The comedian's return comes after days of protest in New York and L.A. and after ABC said they had, quote, thoughtful conversations with Jimmy. In his first monologue since the show was taken off air, an emotional Jimmy Kimmel setting the record straight about the, quote, ill-timed and insensitive comments he made about the man charged with killing conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
It was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it.
Kimmel thanked his fellow late-night talk show hosts, viewers, and fans who spoke up in solidarity.
You supported our show, cared enough to do something about it, to make your voices heard so that mine can be heard. I will never forget it.
Also showing gratitude to those he says aren't supporters, but supported his right to share his beliefs.
Like Ben Shapiro, Clay Travis, Candace Owens, Mitch McConnell, Rand Paul, even my old pal Ted Cruz.
Charlie Kirk's supporters expressed disappointment over Disney's decision.
I can't believe they're letting him back on the air.
However, millions couldn't see the show with media companies Nexstar and Sinclair, which combined own more than 400 TV stations nationwide, preempting Jimmy Kimmel Live, blocking it from nearly a quarter of American households.
The President of the United States made it very clear he wants to see me and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he can't take a joke.
About an hour before last night's broadcast, President Donald Trump typed out a scathing social media post saying the show had bad ratings, accused Kimmel of being an arm of the Democratic Party, and appeared to threaten to sue ABC again. Cindy.
Aziza, thank you. With 41 days until the general election, one of New Jersey's largest police unions is making an endorsement. Republican nominee Jack Ciattarelli was endorsed by the Fraternal Order of Police today. Ciattarelli posted these pictures to his Facebook page after meeting with union members in Burlington County. Ciattarelli is running against Democratic Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill, and the most recent polls show Sherrill in the lead by several points.
Well, happening today on Long Island, due to the threat of bad weather tomorrow, the opening ceremony for the Ryder Cup has been moved up to this afternoon. Some of golf's best will play this week at Bethpage Black. Keegan Bradley will captain the U.S. team against a European team led by Captain Luke Donald. Today's opening ceremony is set for 4 p.m. With no parking available, Governor Hochul says there will be extra Long Island Railroad service to accommodate fans heading to Bethpage Black. Up to 9 additional eastbound trains will be headed to Farmingdale, where PGA shuttle buses will take fans directly to the course.
All right, let's check weather with meteorologist Tony Sadiku, who's in the virtual studio. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Cindy. And yeah, definitely think it was the right call to move the opening ceremony a day earlier, especially given the weather we're seeing tomorrow and the first alert weather day we issued for the rounds of rain, which will be impactful. You know, what's impactful this morning can be the fog. Not widespread, but man, can it be troublesome getting through some of those spots in parts of New Jersey, parts of Sussex County, parts of Morris County, too, to the north. You'll run into some of that. Now, the story today is we've got the moisture in the atmosphere. A little instability can get a couple of pop-ups going. Otherwise, it's more clouds and sun. Temperatures upper 70s. Quick check at your first alert flyby from our Chevy Chopper. It's all good this morning, but let's check in on that commute right now with Guy Stanier at 512. How we doing on the roads?
Tony, we're doing pretty well. We're going to start with a check on Westchester's Big 5. Traffic moving well on the Thruway, the Bronx River Parkway, the Sawmill, the Hutch, the Cross County. Lots of green here and no major problems to talk about. Over to Long Island's Big 3, it's a similar story. Look at this. Lots of green here. Traffic moving well on the northern state, the southern state, as well as the Long Island Expressway. Alternate side parking is suspended again for Rosh Hashanah. You still have to pay the meters, and it's a gridlock alert day. Chris and Cindy, back to you.
Okay, Guy, thank you very much. Well, coming up, FEMA workers warn that changes under the Trump administration were putting the public at risk. Now those employees are under investigation. We'll tell you why.
And a family saved by their neighbors after a fire spread through their house. The dramatic video capturing their escape from the flames.